Yeah, I have a theory about Connor, and I know we're not always going to make this the Connor show, but I have a theory. I have a pretty good theory, right?
Okay, talk to me.
Because in my opinion, I think in a lot of people's opinion, boxing has been suffering. The Triple G, Golovkin is his name. I don't watch boxing at all. I know you do sometimes, especially the British guys.
I try to watch boxing. Of course, I'm MMA all day. I try and watch boxing. The problem is, I enjoy a good boxing match, and I get behind it and I try and watch, but it's just not publicized the way the UFCs are. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes a great boxing fight sneaks up on me, and I'm like, shit, did that happen last night? If I'd have known it was on, I would have tuned in and watched it. Now, pay-per-view, unless it was a big one, I don't know if I'd shell out for a pay-per-view. But I try and watch boxing where I can.
Yeah, and Triple G is the guy that everyone's saying is the next coming of Christ, and, he's the dude, and, but here's the thing, right? And he's the only guy that I hear anybody talking about, like the newer up-and-coming guys. He's the dude that everyone's talking about. Everyone else, basically, Mayweather's beaten. But his last pay-per-view only did 170,000 pay-per-view buys, and I don't know much about the boxing business. I know for a UFC, that's considered abysmal. I know when, Mighty Mouse was getting 250 or 280,000 buys, people were going like, that's a problem. We can't put him at the top of a card by himself because that's very, very low for, the UFC's buy rate.
No, it is very low. And without, going into too many details, but I believe you have to hit 200,000 buys before you even start taking a piece of the pay-per-view. So, it has to get over 200,000 for you to start making any money. So, 170,000. How many was it? 170?
170 for the Triple G fight. So, I think boxing. Ahead, I think it's in trouble. I think boxing's in trouble. I think it's slowly but surely. I think MMA shines a light on to how I don't want to say boring is not the word because I do respect it and it can be exciting, but it's just limited. We have that element, which is just punching with your hands in MMA, and then we have so many other bells and whistles on top of it with the kicking and the jiu-jitsu and the wrestling, and there's so many moments in a fight. There's 5 fights on a pay-per-view. I mean, it's this incredible system. We're just killing them in every way. And I do think, though, this is my theory now, if Conor McGregor, either wins or loses in spectacular fashion, that could be a huge bump for boxing. Could maybe even save boxing. If Conor McGregor wins, I think it could flat out save boxing because I think Conor McGregor would end up being a 2-sport athlete. I think he would just convince the UFC, well, I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want to do. Also, if he beats Mayweather, I know it's not going to happen. Everyone's going to call me an idiot. It's not going to happen. But if he did, he then becomes by far the highest paid athlete in combat sports. And he's just the dude. Everybody wants a piece of Conor McGregor. But even if he loses in spectacular fashion, if Mayweather comes out and knocks him out in a minute, I think that is a big injection to boxing. And it says, look, these guys are fucking really tough and they're no joke and they will knock you on your fucking ass. And I think that either one, but most likely it's going to go to a boring decision, and boxing is just kind of in the same position it's always been in.
Yeah, what you got to remember, though, is that Mayweather is actually coming out of retirement for this fight. He's been retired for, 18 months, something like that? He's coming out of retirement for this fight. If he beats Conor McGregor, which of course he's the favourite to do so, but you got to remember McGregor does have that puncher's chance, and that's about it. McGregor's fast and he's tough and this and that. He's durable and he's an incredible athlete. But he'd have to win by knockout, and I don't think that's even insulting to Conor McGregor. That's just the facts. He'd have to win by knockout, whereas Mayweather would have a variety of ways that he could win. But I think win or lose, we're not going to see Mayweather fight again. I don't know. I haven't spoken to him, but I'm just saying, if you come out of retirement, you have a big money fight against Conor McGregor, and the pay-per-view is going to be absolutely ridiculous, he's going to make that money and then retire. For his money, if you put yourself in Mayweather's shoes, he's looking at McGregor, the biggest UFC star out there who's got a track record of doing huge pay-per-view buys. Combine that with the boxing audience, that probably doubles the pay-per-view buy rates. Mayweather's last fight only did 400,000. McGregor's got a record of doing over 1 million buys per fight.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what's tempting Mayweather here. Of course it is. And I'm just looking at Pacquiao, and Pacquiao is one of, boxing's big stars as well. His last fight against... who was it? Let's have a look.
Bradley, I think it was.
Yeah, against Jesse Vargas, that only did 400,000. That was a big fight. And Mayweather's only did 400,000. So it's not pulling in the numbers like it used to unless it's a massive sensational fight. And like you said, the Triple G fight, what did that do? 400,000?
No, 170.
Oh shit, 170.
Yeah,
Jeez, yeah,
that's what they. Yeah,
so boxing kind of needs this, to be honest. And I guess there is an argument for that. It saves boxing if he was to go out there and destroy McGregor and make everybody seem that they're the premier fighting athletes, the combat sport athletes on the planet.
Yeah, if he knocks him out,
that would have an effect.
Oh, yeah, dude. Just that image of him standing over him. But here's the thing. On the other end, if McGregor can knock out, and the only way McGregor could beat Mayweather is by knocking him out, catching him. He's got to get lucky. Forget anything else, dude. It's Mayweather. I read an interview with somebody.
No, listen. He hasn't got to get lucky. McGregor's got a great left hand. He's built his career on that. That left hand, for the most part, is what gets the job done. And if McGregor was to land that shot, that wouldn't be a lucky punch. That pisses me off when people say a lucky punch. How on earth is it lucky? He threw the shot, it landed on the chin, and it knocks the guy out. That's not a lucky shot. If you closed your eyes and were completely blind and then you swung, then that would be a lucky shot. But if you're combining, you're in the middle of a technical fight and you swing the shot, boom. That ain't no lucky shot, buddy.
You're right. But let me say this, okay? And you'll admit this. If they fought 100 times, okay, Mayweather would, without a doubt, win 95 times, right? And the reason I say lucky shot, and I know it's probably a bad word to use for it.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just like when you say punch or chance, technically it's the same thing. We're just kind of using a different phrase for it. Like ultimately, that's the only way that he's going to do it. But if for some reason he can do it, and we have a picture of Conor McGregor standing over Floyd Mayweather. I mean, in that moment, that becomes that
would be
what Muhammad Ali.
I was just going to say the Muhammad Ali picture where he's standing there over
Sonny Liston, I think, or George Foreman.
First minute, first round, and it's that iconic shot of Muhammad Ali standing there. That would be the new most iconic shot in all of sports. It would be unbelievable.
Muhammad Ali, Sonny Liston. Let me tell you something. So much so, Michael Bisping, I know you and McGregor have had words and have had a contentious relationship in the past. I believe that if that happened, I could imagine over your bed the picture of McGregor standing over Floyd Mayweather. You're like, you know what? I got to give this guy respect.
Listen, I will never have a sweaty dude naked, almost naked, over my bed, Lewis. I don't know where I don't know what your kind of background is, but I'll have pictures of my children or my wife or whatever. I will never have a semi-naked dude covered in sweat above my bed.
All right. Well, you know what? Here's the thing. We should make some sort of bet. If McGregor does it, we have to have a bet where for 1 year you have to have a sweaty naked picture of McGregor in your bedroom.
Okay. He came back and fought Frankie Edgar for was it an interim title fight? Yeah, the interim lightweight title.
And now they're combining it with Max, right? But what about you? Do you recognize that as a real title, right? Do you look at that 145-pound strap, even though Conor gave it up, right? Conor beat Jose. He never got beat for it. Is there a part of you that's going like, okay, I don't really recognize Jose or Max Holloway as the real champion until they beat Conor? Because that's the way I feel.
Yeah, well, and you'd be forgiven for feeling that way, and kind of I do. I mean, Conor did the right thing in some ways because, listen, he was undefeated at featherweight, he won the belt, and then he vacates the belt. In some ways, he will forever be the 145-pound champion. All he has to do is make weight again. So, in a lot of people's eyes, let's be honest, he beat both of them. He beat Jose in 13 seconds, and he beat Max Holloway. And Max Holloway was the only one to take him to a decision. Granted, he's older now, and he has drastically improved. But even still, Conor does own a victory.
Conor's also drastically improved as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Everybody improves. It's called progression. The more you train in this sport, the better you get. And I guess he will be forever the 145 champion, I guess. Because, listen, even though Jose's the champion now, I mean, it's still fresh in everybody's mind that Conor knocked him out in 13 seconds. Simple as that. It wasn't that long ago. That isn't forgotten about. I mean, when was that? 2 years ago? And Jose's only fought, once since then? So... yeah, no, I guess in my mind, Conor's still the champion. He's the champ.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's a weird thing because I asked you about that because you said you have no problem with retiring with the title. And I was like, well, technically, essentially, you are killing the 185-pound title. If nobody beats you for it, then whoever, gets it after you is technically a paper champion. Tyron Woodley.
At least I'm only holding up one division. I'm not holding up two divisions.
That's also true. Yeah, nobody makes that point either.
Exactly. He's holding two divisions hostage, so to speak, right now. At least I'm only doing it to one. So come on, Rockhold. If you've got anyone to be pissed off at, talk some shit about Conor.